For the head, you start off with a sphere. I mean, you could have guessed that, right? And then you add a... And remember how a sphere is just a circle that's within a box? So I'm going to draw the front plane of a box. And this front plane is going to be the face of my character. And I'm going to bisect it in half. And that's going to be my character's face. So the next thing to do is to draw the rest of the box. So this side plane of the box is going to be the side of my character's face. See how this line, and this line are parallel? That's because of perspective, which we learned earlier. And there's the top. So because of the rules of perspective, all the features on the face are going to be in the same perspective as the front plane. And all the features on the side of the face are going to be in the perspective of the side plane. So the halfway point on the side plane, you put the ear. Then this line is going to be the eyes. So I'm going to mark out that it's going to be the eye plane. The ears, the relationship between the ear and the eye is actually what visually communicates which direction the head is tilting. It took me so long to freaking realize that, but this is like how you draw people looking up, people looking down. People, if you see the ear higher than the eye line, that means that they're looking down. If the ear is lower than the eye line, that means that they are looking up. Okay, so from this, from the inner part of the eye and this middle part of the front plane, I can determine kind of the overall jawline shape of the face. Now, jawline changes a lot depending on the character. So you kind of have to wing this part. Like, you could have it like friggin' wide, like this guy, or you could do a really soft one for a girl. You round it out. Do an angular one, which is my favorite. This is all really up to you. Like, the shape of the skull determines the shape of the face, and it's so different. Like, one of the really fun things I like doing is looking up the different face shapes for like different cultures. There's a lot of studies in psychology that are done based on faces. So that's like a cool area of research if you ever want to take a look into that. So, and with that jawline, I can draw the rest of the jaw. And with this box and with this perspective, I can draw the rest of the head. Just round out the skull. This is not turning out nearly as bad as I thought it might. There's always a chance.
Looks pretty awesome to me.
So see this sphere here, the inner sphere? You can extend that out, like with a cylinder, to form a neck. Basically, if the cylinder for the neck can't hold the sphere for the head, then the head is going to look like it's too big or unbalanced. So the key about the eyes is you should be able to fit one eye between the other two. Like this space, this space, this space should all be equivalent after perspective is taken into account. This is true even for anime bug eyes. Like if you draw chibis with the eyes really close together, they look kind of weird. Like they're not as cute anymore. It's because we are attracted to characters with we're basically children have wide set eyes, and which is why we think they're cute.
Derpy eyes. Yes, derpy eyes.
So I'm just putting in the landmarks for the eyes right now. And then maybe another one for the brow bone. Which, again, is in the same perspective. I'm going to taper the head a bit more. Now the nose, on average, is about halfway down from the eyes to the chin. So if you measure this line here against this line here, it should be roughly half. But again, some people have smaller noses, some people have wider noses, like Asian people tend to have wider noses, and like Caucasian people tend to have thinner noses. Nordic people tend to have smaller noses, while like Israeli people have like longer noses. Like the middle of their face is just longer. So, so I'm going to put in a triangle to represent the bottom of the nose here. And the mouth line is halfway between the bottom of the jaw and the nose. So here we have a half for the eye, 3/4 for the nose, and then that's 5/8 for the mouth. The width of the mouth is usually can be drawn from between the center of the eyes. Again, varies, like faces vary so much. I know my mouth actually does not line up with my pupils, which is like what it's supposed to be on the general model. The corners of my mouth do not line up with my pupils.
They kind of do.
Kind of, a little.
Okay. Well,
But also the edges of my nose do not line up with the inside of my eyes. Yeah, yours kind of do. Yours do more so, because you're Caucasian, so your nose is thinner.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have a thin nose.
So I'm doing a Caucasian person, so the inside of their nose is going to line up with the inside of the wing of their nose is going to line up with the inside of their eye. I'm going to add a bump to the nose because I just like doing that. I think noses are like the most characteristic part of people, so I really like drawing them. What I'm doing here is basically a symbolic rendering. I don't really care if it looks like, I have everything. I'm just drawing, the symbolic rendering is a collection of lines that you use to represent a certain feature or something. So this is the way that I draw noses. But I know some people do like these tiny like check mark noses. Some people just draw the nostrils and shade it a little bit on top. This is kind of like how you define your style. And so for the lips, when I need to draw it quickly, I just render the upper lip in shadow, and then the bottom make a shadow that represents the bottom of the lower lip, and then shade a little. Especially if it's a girl and they're wearing lipstick, then I'll actually add a bit more shadow in there. And then I'll shade in for the philtrum and the bottom of the nose. Then on the brow bone, put the eyebrow. This was a man, now it's a woman. And then the eyelid. So eye shape also varies depending on cultures. Caucasians will have this like little fold up here, while Asian people sometimes don't. I'm an Asian person with it, but it's genetically less common to have a fold above the eye in Asian culture. And draw the iris pupil. Teach you how to paint an eye later. And do the same thing, but in perspective. Drawing the other eye is like the hardest for me. I tend to accidentally make the other side eye smaller than the other one, but really because of perspective, the top of the eye, the bottom of the eye, all of that should still line up in perspective. It should just be shorter from this side. But when you're winging it and you have a tiny ass piece of paper, then it doesn't always work. And so the hairline is usually like maybe a third of the way down to a fifth. It varies. Some people have receding hairlines. But I think the haircut is one of the most important things that people don't really remember when drawing, because haircuts vary a lot. Hair grows out from the head, and then the locks fall in different directions. So I'm gonna do a part here, and then all the rest of the hair has to come out from that part. So if I give her bangs, Justin Bieber bangs, sweep them sidelong across her forehead. They're really long. I like drawing hair in chunks and then detailing each chunk afterwards, because that gives you more shape to the haircut. Hair is another one of those things that you can really stylize. Like, I know some people that use literally they use straight lines in the hair. I like using wavy lines, but you can really do a lot of stylization with the hair. So try a lot of things out when you're trying to find out what you like. And remember how I mentioned the sternocleidomastoid earlier? So here's the collarbone. The sternocleidomastoid actually reaches down from behind the ear, the mastoid process, and comes down to the clavicle and connects to the climax to the clavicle and the sternum. Get it? Sternocleidomastoid. Also note that men have Adam's apples. Basically, their throat muscles are larger. So, which is why they have deeper voices. So a guy, it'll be like But a women would be like smooth. The guy will actually have like have a bump in it from the side. Yes, I see that people are mentioning it. A really good tip is to flip horizontal your work. I know already that this is going to be off, but that'll let you catch any sort of like mistakes. And the more and more you practice, then the more you're going to understand, like, more you're going to be able to catch things even without flip horizontally.